Testing. 1, 2, 11. Hey, YouTube. Hey, Candy. Hey, Not Candy. Hey, Daryl Deemer. Hey, Haley. Hey, Cody's son. Daryl Deemer. Daryl Deemer. Daryl Deemer. Welcome to the stream, guys. Can I get a sound check? Sound check. Once again, I am bereft of topics I got on the internet. Not Nola Jane Fishrich. Welcome to the stream. Sound is good. Sound is goo. Yeah, goo sounds about right. My stream health is orange. That's not good. Good stream is healthy, but it's showing orange. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. I am once again bereft of topics. I got on the internet to find a topic. I got on YouTube, and instead I found Haley and her wonderful Bashir Biker Bitcher Egg live stream. And she's there in the chat. Anybody that's here that does not know Haley, Oddball Aquatics, I strongly suggest that you go and check her out. Ono's Fish Corner, welcome to the stream. Oh no, you may be the only one in the stream that doesn't know who Oddball Aquatics is. She's headed out. Haley who? Candy not. 54 Punchy. Pam there is the last person to see Thomas alive. And if you want to know what all that means, you need to go watch one of her streams. Kaler's Aquatics wants to know if I've seen Haley's married name. Yeah, don't encourage Pam. Don't encourage Not Candy. Denny's Fish Tank, welcome to the stream. Yeah. Everybody's got to be something, Denny. Sometimes it's bad. Since it's my channel, I can wax poetic on all of the reasons why Haley should be using methyl blue on her Bircher, Bitcher, Biker, Bicars, eggs. It's one of the things that you will discover as you grow long in the tooth in fish keeping is that old habits die hard, that things that worked for you when you first began fish keeping things that you learned when you first began fish keeping will stay with you decades and endless improvements in the hobby nonetheless. Hey, Corona Ken, welcome to the stream. Pam's never going to stop. Now, Pam's never going to stop pamming. So, Eric Bodrock made a statement about 6 or 8 months ago that has stuck with me a long time, where he said that basically all that methyl blue does is shade the light from the eggs. It's basically just a way to darken the water so that not as much light gets to the eggs. And while I have to agree with Eric Bodrock because he knows a whole lot more about fish than I do, I have to wonder if there isn't some antifungal agent in methyl blue that caused so many of us for so many years to immediately reach for the methyl blue when we Haley, you can get kudos, and Haley, don't listen to me for a second. I'm just going on about old school and how we learned back then, and how one of these days all of this stuff that you guys are doing right now is going to be old school for you, and then you will be telling people in the 2080s that this is how they have to do it. Hey, 44 Mad Guy, welcome to the stream. Hey, Sharpies, Models, and Aquatics. Hi, Candy, Not Candy. Yep. Pam is now not Candy forevermore, and the last known person to see Thomas alive before he went for a Whopper. And Corona Ken says he still methyl blues his Cory eggs. And it's just habit, Haley. It's just, you know, you don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, now I got to remember to breathe or I'm going to die of asphyxiation. You just do things by habit because they've always worked, and you don't even think about it anymore. And that's how our fish keeping becomes. It's maybe that's what's in the Impossible Whopper. Oh man, I'm never gonna eat one of those now. I was thinking about eating one. Sharpies, Models, and Aquatics says it's the same in scale modeling. Some old school techniques get ignored by younger builders despite being great techniques and skills to have at your disposal. Yes. Yes, I would have to wholeheartedly agree with that, Sharpies. It's that's why the floor was sticky. Yep. Gross, Pam. Pam, you are not Candy today. Well, I just want people to recognize, you know, what I'm trying to get you to do is look at the future. Jeremy, I'm just trying to get you to look at the future right now. Right now, I want you to realize that the way that you are doing things right now, in 30 years, you're still going to think that's the way you should do them. And yet, all these new people that just started keeping fish 5 minutes ago are going to tell you over and over again that that is old school crap and you should give it up and quit doing it. Yeah, this derailed quickly. Well, I'm glad because there were no rails, Haley. Like I said, I dutifully looked for a topic on YouTube, something to steal from someone else, and I got nothing. I got Haley's Oddball Aquatics live stream, and I was having too much fun. I'm jealous that you got to hang out with Biggs. I'm jealous that you got to hang out with Scott. I'm jealous that you got to go to the Clash and I didn't. And we like to have fun. That's right. And I'm also jealous that you're going to Aquashella and I'm not. Hey, down the wormhole. Welcome to the stream. How is it that you're not a mod? I thought I made you a mod a long time ago. I guess not. Anyway, what I'm trying to get you to do is look at something. All right, 44 Mad Guy. We'll just have a mod wall here today. I'm trying to get you guys to wrap your head around the idea that look at what's going on with people around you right now, and that is going to be your old school in 20 or 30 years. Because people always say to me that well, what was it like 40 years ago in the fish keeping hobby? And my answer is for you to look around at the hobby right this minute and realize that this is your old school in another 20, 30 years. So if you look at things like that, if you look at things like this is my future old school right now, it will give you a different perspective. It will give you a different perspective on how you view the things that people are teaching you right now. Kim has a wrench. Haley's mama has a wrench. Derek Vera, welcome to the stream. I've got a lot of new people in here today because they all came over from Haley's live stream. I'm piggybacking off of Haley's live stream. Denise Fish Tank, don't forget the under gravel filter Sharpie. Yep. Last time I had fish back in the 80s, you just put some gravel in a box, filter in the tank, filled it with water and added fish. Yep. It's got to be something that is pretty important to survive all these years. It is still possible to keep fish exactly the way we kept the fish in 1970. But in the meantime, we have learned all this extra knowledge about how to do stuff in the fish keeping hobby. In the intervening 40 years, there have been huge advancements in technology. There have been huge advancements in fish keeping knowledge. There have been huge advancements in food technology, in the kinds of things that we can feed our fish, and how we can keep the live fish alive, live fish food alive. Because back in the day, we had a hard time keeping some of that stuff alive. Yep, there will always be somebody like you ain't doing that right. It's what works for you. when the water went so green you couldn't see the fish, you took all the water out, put new tap water in, plopped the fish straight back in. Sometimes we left that water green because Pam says, I still hate the old corner filters, would never stay down. Yep, that's why you always put 5 or 6 hunks of gravel in that corner filter on top of the filter floss. That's what we used to call it. That was the technical name for old school corner filters, filter floss. And you would stuff a bunch of filter floss in there, and then you'd throw 4 or 5 pieces of gravel, heavy gravel on top of it, so that that stupid little corner filter would stay down on the bottom of the tank. One of my favorite things about under gravel filters is that you can do so many different things with an under gravel filter. You can stop large cichlids from digging by putting down 2 inches of gravel and then putting a piece of egg crate light diffuser, breaking it so that it fits in your tank around whatever upstands you've got or whatever decoration that's too heavy to move. You can set that egg crate diffuser panel down on top of that 2 inches of gravel and then put 2 more inches of gravel on top of it, which gives you a total substrate depth of 4 inches or thereabouts, 3.5, something like that. And then run your under gravel filter so that those cichlids, which always readjust whatever tank they're in and will dig great holes in whatever substrate you have. Substrate's awfully expensive now, Haley. All of us try to get by with as little as possible. But you could use that to stop big cichlids from digging holes in your substrate so that your under gravel filter would quit working because all the water would be sucked right down through the hole. And you can also put a power head on the riser pipe coming out of your under gravel filter so that you're not only getting heavier flow through your under gravel filter, but you can also run a little piece of air line to the little nipple on top of the outlet of the power head, and it will not only pull water through your under gravel filter, but it will then blow air out through the output so that you're heavily oxygenating the water. You can use the flow from that power head to bounce the detritus in your tank around towards where your canister filter uptake is, so that it goes right up the canister, up into the canister. And if you get really, one of the downsides from under gravel filters, hey VB23, welcome to the stream. One of the downside to under gravel filters is that they would get clogged and the water flow would slow down through the gravel because all the detritus would get sucked down in it. The bitter eggs are hatching? Oh my God, Haley. Have you started some green water? Because green water is the best thing to give them right off the bat. Lots of rotifers in green water. But you're going to need, video. Okay, Haley, I'm going to shut my stream down. You go back live again. You know where you can get some green water? That's what you want to put in there to begin with. The very first thing. um, if if you thought enough about it in the old days, you could take that same power head that you were using to pull water down through your under gravel filter and up the standpipe and then out, and turn the the power head the other way so that water was being pulled through a sponge filter into the power head and down the standpipe and creating pressure underneath the gravel so that the gravel, the detritus was not collected in the gravel anymore, but was pushed up out of the gravel. Yes, Haley's a mother again. Man, just think how many birthday cakes you're going to have to make every year now, Haley. That's 340 birthday cakes that you're going to be required to make every year at this time. Unless you sell those bikers, bishars, bitchers. And then those people will need to know those little fish's birthday. Wonder why Rob got called Rob from Robert and I'm Bob from Bobbert. You mean your name isn't Bobbert? I thought it was Bobbert, Bob. That's why we call you Bob. More grandfish. Number 4,647. Yep. I got news for you, Kim. There's not enough fish tanks in Lucas's house to house all those bitchers. Something's going to have to give. Either the ropefish are going to have to move over for a bunch of baby bickers. Bick ear, yep. Latin at school. There's not enough tanks anywhere. Oh, there's enough tanks. There's enough tanks down at the tank warehouse, but they're not all going to fit in your house. And Bear's going to get tired. The ropefish will never move. I thought the ropefish were going into the split hot tub. What's your relationship with Brett, Haley? Her relationship with the green water wizard is changing the water in all of his tanks over and over and over and over. Connor Singh says the ropefish can move to his house. Now we're beginning to... what you need to do, Haley, is get on the phone with A and B Spartan and say, I'm sending you 200 baby bickers. They will be arriving at this rate. It's going to be buckets, pots, pans, sinks, and toilets, Haley. Yeehaw. Well, this is what you need to think about when you become a good fish keeper, because this is the kind of stuff that happens. Now, usually what happens is the same thing that happens in the wild. Usually what happens in the wild is that most of these babies die. Most of them are eaten by predators. Most of them are eaten by wading birds or wolffish or everything that can eat those sized eggs. And so that's why when we look at how people are keeping fish in the hobby, we need to recognize what the actual life expectancy of fish in the wild is. Probably 40 or 50% of the baby eggs that are laid in the wild get eaten. They don't ever hatch, much less survive once they hatch. And once they hatch, they're helpless little things that any predator will love to pick off and eat that egg and yolk sac that comes with it. Bitchers could probably live their whole life in a 40, but they would really be cramped. If it was a 40 long, or if it was a 50-gallon lowboy, they would be much happier having that extra room. Haley's mom says, I knew I kept 200 canning jars for a reason, thought it was for the apocalypse. Well, it is now a bicker apocalypse. If Haley does her work well and those babies survive, okay, Haley, it's time for a knowledge drop. I want you to listen to what I am going to describe to you now. And this is not my research. This is something that I learned on Tropical Fish Hobby forum. Those of you that get the magazine electronically can go there and find this yourself. Some guy in Yugoslavia did work where he recognized that what baby fish really want to do when they are in the yolk sac stage is to stay in one place and not use all of their energy in that yolk sac for moving around trying to find food. What that yolk sac is for those fish to develop their internal body organs, for them to develop their nervous system, for them to develop and grow as large as they can in that period of time where they are still carrying a yolk sac. And so what he figured out, and he did this with tetras, but it should be done with all baby fish, because what's going to go on in the wild is those baby fish are going to hatch and they're going to find the underneath of a rock, they're going to find the underneath of a leaf that is laying on the bottom. Yes, get microworms. You can get them in 2 days from Aquabids. Go to Aquabids, order microworms. You'll have them in 2 or 3 days. Okay, but I'm trying to pass this knowledge on to Haley. The great Karnak is passing this knowledge on. He designed a Tetra tank that had a piece of glass that was about a ½ an inch off the bottom of the tank, and the eggs hatched and went through, or the eggs went through a screen that the tetras were in, and then fell to the bottom of the tank and collected under that piece of glass. As soon as those eggs hatched, those babies went straight up to that glass and hung there the whole time they were young, except for when they went after food. So he made sure that the food was right there so that they could go from hanging under the bottom of that glass to down on the bottom and eat their food and go right back to hanging on that glass so that they did not waste any energy swimming around. You know, we see those babies wriggling all over our tank and we say, look at our babies. They're wriggling all over the tank. They're wasting their energy that they need to fully develop their bodies and have healthy organs. So I am trying to pass that little piece of knowledge on to you so that when you look at those bitcher eggs and you see them wriggling all over the place looking for food, understand that you're not watching your, oh joy, my little wrigglers are wriggling all over the tank. You're watching them waste energy that they need to fully develop themselves. And that's what I took away from what that guy had created. And by him doing it the way he did it, it was completely obvious that those fish didn't want to move all around the tank. All they wanted to do was hang there and let their bodies develop and then eat and then go right back to hanging there and letting their bodies develop. So I'm telling you two things, Haley. One, the food needs to be very close to where they're hanging out. Fish Gandalf. Fly, you fools. You shall not pass. And two, there needs to be something in that tank or something in their holding container that they can get underneath and hang on to. You can do it with a catappa leaf. You could do it with a piece of glass and some washers holding it off the bottom. Not unlike my routine. Well, Bob, tell us about your routine because that's the piece of knowledge that I took away from this guy. He did pictures and showed them. His thing was taking really close-up pictures of babies developing. So you got 100 pictures of eggs all the way through to almost yolk-free babies. And really close-ups. And because of that need to get those pictures and to have those babies stay still, he hit on this idea to put this small sheet of glass at the bottom of the tank where the eggs would drop through the screen so the tetra parents couldn't eat them, and then roll underneath that glass and hatch. And then my routine is, oh my God, baby fish, now what the hell do I do? Yeah, well, that's all of our routine. The Life Aquatic with Rob Bull, welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if I missed you coming in. Or you could do it with rocks or logs like nature. True, but we're human beings and it's our nature to want to keep seeing them. You know, if we can't see how many babies are left alive, we're going to move that rock or we're going to move that log. So by doing it with a sheet of glass, you can keep a continual checkup on those babies. You can watch them develop in such a way that you can take pictures of them, you can video them. How about a sheet of plastic? Haley, this is new ground. This is undiscovered country. As E.E. Cummings so eloquently stated, And James T. Kirk so uneloquently stole to title one of his shows, The Undiscovered Country. I put my crebensis in a 5-gallon quarantine tank. A week later, there were fry everywhere, like a crowd, like a cloud. I've watched several people do live streams about this. This is what happens when you get better at fish keeping, when you raise your skill level. Then all of a sudden you're faced with 800 baby Jack Dempseys or 360 baby Bickers. And it's your reward. This is your reward, Haley, for being good at fish keeping. You get to go crazy trying to keep these babies alive, figure out what you're going to do with them, figure out who you can get these I see the light bulb coming on over Haley's head. Right, reward in our hobby, more work. And that's what it is. It's more work, it's more joy, it's more. You will learn so much watching those babies grow up. There's nobody that can teach you what you're going to learn trying to raise those babies up, and you may fail miserably. Pam, you're not allowed to say breeding is pleasure. You're in trouble already. It's the best part of our hobby is raising fry, watching our fish thrive enough or getting lucky enough to have them breed, and then watching those babies mature, working your butt off to try to keep them alive and to keep them alive enough that you have a great survival rate. You know, the best fish ever are surprise baby fish. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. And now Not Candy is trying to act angelic with halos over her head. Wow. Do tell, Candy. I'm so happy all the fish survived. They were delayed a day. Yeah, I know about that, delayed a day, but grats. I'm glad they survived. Get them, the heck with us. Go, the fish come first, Candy. Always remember, the fish come first. I learned that from Michael Barber in Peru. The fish come first. I don't care how tired you are from having spent 3 days in the wild, hiking up and down mountains, clambering over rocks. They are in there, Dwayne. Okay, all right. Just don't waste time on us. Survival rates are overrated. 95% of the time, I wish I bred less fish. Yeah. This is the conundrum that we are faced with as fish keepers. That and Shorby says I call it live food. Yep. Well, that's what we do. That's how we handle culling. I mean, as many baby bickers as Haley has right now, or is going to have, she's going to have to cull some. And I bet the ropefish enjoy chasing baby bickers around their pond. So, culling is one of the downsides of having yes. and 44 Mag Guy says, do you know of a cheap dirt substrate? Want to go with Carib Sea Eco Complete, but it's a bit too expensive right now. And it is too expensive right now and for always. If you can get by with sand, go buy you some nice sharp sand from the rock place, or buy you a bag of sand from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever your local hardware store is. But you need to wash that stuff. You need to rinse it 1,000,000 times. And you think I'm kidding when I say rinse 1,000,000 times. Axolotl food, the axolotls will love baby bickers, especially the silver ones. They'll go after those silver baby bickers like no tomorrow. Pool place sand, yes. And you just need to rinse that stuff 50 million times before you put it in your tank, because on the 50 millionth and one time that you rinse it and then put it in your tank, the next day your tank is going to be a clouded mess and will require really good filter floss, extra filtration to get that water sparkling again. But sand will compact on you. Yeah, I'm using sand for the top, but want dirt underneath for plants. Okay, then you're going to have to bite the bullet and either go buy some from one of your local nurseries. But here's a tip. Don't get the kind that has vermiculite in it, the little shiny looking stuff, or styrofoam, the little white balls in it. You don't want little white balls, because every time you pull a plant up, there will be 30,000 little white balls that rise to the surface of your tank and create the most impossible scum you've ever seen. Sand will work as a cap, but sand is a miserable cap to use sometimes. But you don't want little white balls. Don't tell Pam little white balls. She'll never rest. She'll go on for years talking about your little white balls. Maybe she fell asleep. Maybe her coffee ran dry and she fell asleep and she didn't hear that. Years and years. She did not fall asleep. We'll put it on her. We're doomed, I tell you, we're doomed. My best advice for capping, because here's the thing. If you put a bunch of Eco Complete in a tank and put it over top of a under gravel filter, this guy did this because he wanted Eco Complete. with the bacteria in it already. If you put it on top of an under gravel filter or put it on top of anything, this is what happens. All the little tiny particles that are in there, the little granule particles, begin to settle through the larger particles, and it keeps going down and down and down. And if you had Eco-Complete on top of dirt, those little particles are going to keep settling right through that dirt until what you end up with is a mix of dirt and Eco-Complete, which is not a good idea. So sand is going to do the same thing. Eventually that sand is going to settle down and the heavier particles are going to begin to mix with that dirt, and the dirt's going to begin to mix with that sand, and pretty soon you're going to have dirt floating all over your tank. Now that's not to say that pretty soon means in 20 minutes. It's going to take a while for that sand to settle. It's going to take a while for that Eco-Complete to settle. But in 4 or 5 months, come and talk to me again about how good sand is as a cap. You can use it. It will work. It will create a permanent layer, but it is going to settle eventually right down through that dirt. The Ropefish Pond is organic potting soil and no cap. And I think Haley is giving you a good piece of advice. Organic potting soil. You don't want a whole lot of fertilizers and chemical crap. Chemical crap, not methyl blue, but real chemical crap in your potting soil that you're using for Did Pam die? I haven't heard one word out of her. Pam, are you still alive? Speak to us, Pam. Whatever, Dwayne, I fear the chemicals. I fear the chemicals too. But I learned a long time ago that dyes are our friends. The methyl blue tree, they're out there. Someplace there is a methyl blue tree. Bob killed her off with the headstone comment. She went looking for Thomas, I guess. That's why Bob keeps a record of her art. Because I'm looking for little white balls. Don't look here. Do not look here. All right, guys, we're rounding up to the top of the hour. The head of steam that was created in Haley's live stream has pushed us right through an hour here, or almost an hour. If you guys have some questions that I haven't answered, Pam, check basement. One of those bodies has to have. That's some scary stuff. Nice, Pam. Classy again. I mean, if anyone dies, it's going to be Haley, because either Joseph or Amber murdered her on the way to Chicago, or she's going to drown in bickers. And I thought I didn't have a topic. This is true, Candy. I go through this every week. This is your lesson for when you get tired of modding and you start running your own live stream. Don't worry about the topic. Wing it, Candy. Just wing it. Get on live in front of millions, or in this case 20 people, and wing it. Don't even think about a topic. Keep topics. Yes, Candy. One of these days, you and Caleb have to do a live stream. Caleb can be your first victim as a guest, but then you're going to have to come up with other victims, or just Snickers are much better than topics anyway. Yes, the candy stream. We want candy. We want candy. Don't make me play Baby Metal, Give Me Chocolate. And anybody that has never seen Baby Metal doesn't know who that is. I require you to go and listen to that video all the way through one time, and then try your best to get it out of your brain. I am an old school music, jazz, rock and roll, Alright guys, with that little piece of information, I'm going to head out. I'm getting out of this stream while I'm still alive and before Pam wakes up with the little white ball thing. You guys have a good rest of the weekend. All of you people that are going to Octoshella, damn you, don't have any fun. Don't hang out and have a good time with each other, because I'm not going to be there. I wanted to go, but it's just not going to work out. You guys go and have fun. Make friends. Don't make it crazy. Alright guys, I'm out while I'm still alive. Good luck with your fish. Go to every possible fish event that you can in the next 5 days. And Haley, Joseph, when Joseph gets out of control, when he starts pranking you too bad, tell him that I have a headlock, a sleeper headlock with his name on it. Bye, guys.